Hello, Duffin Peeps and Etymologists. It's Jane. I'm just looking at my journal, what page I might work on. I'll take you off this stand here. So this is editing after the video, Jane here. I filmed this during in front of a live virtual audience inside my Facebook group. And I had really great feedback from it, and I thought this might be a good one for YouTube as well. You let me know. Because what I started off with was so ugly. I don't tend to panic when I'm creating because I know that if I just keep going, usually something will turn out. And look, I can always paint over something or turn the page and have a go another day. But, I'm doing this in front of an audience, so I don't want it to be too bad. Anyway, very random video. And I apologize for the quality. For some reason, I couldn't save it off my camera. This was from a live stream. I've had to load this from the Facebook, so the quality, she's not so great. But the lesson is here. I think it's clear enough that you can see how perseverance is an important element in artwork for all artists. And also keeping in mind, I'm not calling anything I ever do a masterpiece of in any way. And I work in an art journal for a reason. Also, what I'm doing here, this is a month where we have a creative challenge in my Facebook group called Shine Bright. It's all uplifting prompts. And I'm responding to that. But what was funny about this page was this is in a journal where I test a lot of art supplies. So as I'm designing art supplies, I test a lot of stuff, and some of it is dud on the way to a winning formula or something that I want to include in my collections. So I'm testing a lot of stuff all the time, and not everything makes the grade. I didn't even write notes on whatever I've got in the background here, and I can't remember. So this is just a random page with splodges, sprays. I've added paint in there somewhere. It's some sort of pigment test. I don't know. Looked like a good page to do something on. And I brought out my Marzipan twists because on the test page before this, I was comparing them with colour sticks. And I love seeing the tests of an art supply where I've been testing, getting the colours right, getting the formula right, and there's tests throughout a journal, and then using the finalised art supply. For me, it's just a real joy sparker. So I've got the Marzipan twists on this random, whatever it is, background. Started to create a pair of eyeballs, because remember, I'm talking while I'm creating and chit-chatting, so I'm not really, my brain isn't completely focused on the task at hand. I have a little bit of a skill in being able to chit-chat and create. And I'm looking at the eyes on screen, looking at my little dog Moo, who is looking at me and snoring, because that is attention snoring that is going on. If you can hear a weird noise, that's her, not me. Anyway, I'm using the Marzipan twists, which are a really highly pigmented, ultra smudgeable, gel-based crayon. You can smudge them with your fingers, you can smudge them with a baby wipe. I'm actually using this to clean off my hands. And I've also just bought out a little batten blender, which it looks like an eyeshadow stick, but it's actually made for applying pastel onto paper. Slightly different foam that I've used for that, and that longer handle. And just smudging these beautiful crayons. Now the crayons are very, very, very soft, and smudgeable is the correct word. And you get these lovely, there's Fable, my little dog. You get these lovely effects with it. And then it dries out, the formula dries out, and they dry very matte. So they're fabulous for layering and kickstarting ideas. So I'm chit-chatting, I created these eyes, ring them in red. I was watching a girl on YouTube can't even remember the channel. I'm sorry. And she had a lot of pink and red makeup around the eyes. And it reminded me of John Galliano for Christian Dior in the 1990s. He did a collection with all the red and pink makeup around there. I love that look so much. Does look a bit weird here. Does oddly coordinate with the crazy background. So I'm talking and I thought, wow, maybe this is an octopus. I don't know why I thought this would be an octopus. Sketch that out. It looks very much like an alien at this point. And I just thought, sometimes once you've made that little creative decision, you're following your intuition, sometimes that little voice, she's lazy and she leads you astray. So, but what else can I do except keep moving along? So these Marzipan twists are also water soluble. So of course is whatever is underneath that. So it's sort of, instead of saying a nice clear bright orange, it's mushing in, and well, that's another move. You know, it's just another little thing that happens as it's on the way to something else. So I remember in the back of my mind thinking, holy dooly, love, what are you going to do next? Because this is not it, sis. So what I did was grabbed an art supply that I really love and trust. So this is my LayerCakes. This is an opaque watercolor. It's kind of like a pan gouache. Think of it like that. I love gouache and the opacity, but this also has the creaminess and the vibrancy of acrylics, but the easiness, and I just love pan watercolor as an art supply that you just can use and store so easily. And that is what I was trying to get to happen for gouache, because gouache is divine. It just means opaque watercolor. And I know that if I use one of my favorite brushes, which is the Skinny Mini, which, yes, it looks like a toothbrush, and I think because it looks like that and you hold it the same way, and a toothbrush is something you use 2-3 times a day, we know how toothbrush works. So I find this a very, very versatile, fabulous brush, and I had it made so that it's exactly the width of the LayerCakes, because it's such a perfect brush. Great for collage and other things, but fits the pan just really, really well. It's a bit of a blunt instrument, great for initial layers and keeping loose and keeping fun and fancy free. But look at this. What is this? So in my mind, I'm still thinking, goodness me, where can this even go? And also thinking, well, in for a penny, in for a pound, just keep going. So what is it missing? It's just, I kind of like the eyes. The eyes have something, and the mouth, you know, it's got that, the initial colours of the background. So I thought, well, just work around that and just keep going and see what could possibly happen to this flesh-coloured alien. It does look a little bit like an alien that fell out of the spaceship and everyone forgot to pick him up. And also I'm working in, that's getting quite thickly layered now, so I've got to let things dry or I'll end up with peeling. And I thought, well, look, this is crazy anyway. Why not neon pink eyebrows? And then I thought, am I drawing Jeffree Star from when he had pink eyebrows? You know, we've morphed many times. We've started with octopus, definitely went into some sort of weird alien. I don't even want to insult Jeffree Star. We've just the eyebrows were just for a second. And then what else can you do except keep going? So sometimes I've pulled out my favourite art supply. Great. Another little trick that I use is pull out a favourite colour. Neon pink, pop it down. Still not really doing that. Okay, another favourite art supply, white paint pen. Always makes the eyes pop. Okay, and just when I'm working on artwork that I'm really, struggle the right word, but just thinking, whoa, dude, what are you doing, love? You just can't draw today. And that happens. Rather than stopping and letting that, you know, feed into a negative cycle, just keep on moving. So I'm trying all my little tricks here. getting out another favorite color, beautiful turquoise blue. And then you've got to go back into your mind and think of, right, when was another time where I was creating and I got a wow factor just for myself, just as I'm creating. So I'm thinking of wow factors. And I remember something that came to mind was putting a little bit of that blue in the shadows under the nose. So I've done that. But everything's looking very flat, and I just now it looks like have you ever put skin colored zinc cream all over your face, or foundation that's just very heavy coverage, and it just flattens everything else on your face out, and suddenly you don't even look like yourself. You just look, I don't know, like a person with a lot of makeup on. Look, I'm showing you because why not? And then also one of my favorite things to do with faces, add really, really high colored cheeks. I love, overripe peaches, as was in a Lord song just recently. Was it Solar Power? What a lovely song. I've loved it. But that was a line from there. Trying to get some sculptural happenings in this face, and still sticking with the bigger brush because I don't want to lose the looseness and immediacy of what's happening, because the rest of the background's crazy and I don't want to go into full on detail because I already know the eyes are too wonky for that. This is only going to work out to my satisfaction, no one else's. Don't care about that. This is an art journal. It's, like I said, I'm not trying to do a masterpiece, luckily. But I already know that the eyes are wonky because I didn't measure anything up. I just went flying into this. So if I go in and try to get more detailed by using more detailed tools, that is going to be a real struggle because I don't have a basis, a foundation that I've created that's going to support that. This is wild and free. So I just need to stay in that very loose and carefree zone, which is why I wanted to do the artwork in the first place. Added a bit of neon pink to the lips, and seriously, what has she been eating? When I was really, really young, I must have been 4, 5, 6, that sort of age, and I used to go and visit my granny, and she had a little orchard, out in the wilds of Western Australia, and a little orchard next to the house, and there was a mulberry tree. Honestly, it seemed like it was the biggest tree on the planet, and me and my cousins, we would all be able to sit up in there, but we were all tiny. It would have been very cute. And sit up in there, and we would just eat the mulberries sitting in the tree until we thought we would burst. And that is what we looked like. With purple mouths and purple everything else. Oh, memories. So there's me. I didn't have blue hair. But my lovely granny, she used to also breed birds and breed little tiny Australian parrots and quails. She had little budgerigars and all sorts of little Australian birds. And she was such a lovely, sweet lady. I wonder what she thought of us eating all the mulberries, but I suppose she put us in the trees. But my other point was, when I look at photos back from that era, the tree was not that big. We were not that high off the ground. There were no pillows under the ground. If we'd fallen out, you probably would have hurt yourself, but there's a bigger incentive to not be doing that. Now back to the artwork. Okay, it was at this point I thought, I mean, I was having fun, don't get me wrong, but it's adding my favorite color. And you don't have to have a favorite color that's your lifelong favorite. You stick to that for the rest of your life. Just in that moment. It just happens to be in many, many moments of my life, this blue is my favorite color. But it's just so beautiful with the pink, and I love it with the beige colors as well. The beige makes the pink of the turquoise pop So, and all skin tones, because we are neutral, could be a lighter skin tone, a darker skin tone. It's all going to make those bright colours really pop on the skin. And I think that's why I have a lot of high colour whenever I'm doing faces, because I just think they look pretty against the skin tones, the neutral skin tones. Okay, so I was trying to keep that purple mouth and it just was not bringing me joy, so it's gone now. I added a little bit of my angel food cake and shortcake over top, the pink. They're the names of the layer cakes, the genoise, the pavlova, a little bit of salted caramel, bit of macaroon, which is that beautiful blue. And this is why layer cakes are called layer cakes, because of what's happening now. The way that it layers, it's dried enough, and they just really layer up on each other so beautifully. I think it's hard for me to say this is my favourite art supply. I've probably said it a billion jillion times, but these really are very joy-making for me. There's just nothing like them, and their glory. And I love, like, the messier and the looser this gets, the more I like it. So this is where I started to feel, oh, okay, I found my feet. Like, this is all right. And then I just tip it in the opposite direction immediately. And it's part of this whole joy, destroy. Like, I'm joy, I'm finding the joys, and then I do something and I think, ew, that's not what no, that's not it. And then I have to find the joy again. And as long as it's joy, destroy, not destroy, joy, where you're over tipping, if it starts to feel like that, that's when I think, maybe I'll go and make a cup of tea, I'll go for a walk, let's go and play with the dog and come back to my art. Give it a little break. But if I still have that feeling in my bones that, I can turn this around, but I get the whoop, like, ooh, this isn't quite going in the direction. I've done enough art to know that I can turn things around still. Sometimes I do wonder though and think, whoa, see, I've picked the dog up to get myself over the fact that I've put indigo blue in between the lips and I've done big blue lines around the sides. All I have to do is wait, let that dry off a little, and come back over with the layer cakes. That's why I love these paints, because I can do that. And just keep moving forward, and eventually find your feet. Now, I've obviously put this into high speed for a little bit so that, the video's not so long. But what a difference it makes, this little part here. I'm adding a lighter colour, not bright white, which you can do, but just adding that reflection around the face. And this is also an example of, I added the first bit, it was popping, and then I just kept going, and it's okay on the nose, but I will tone that down a little bit around the jaw, because I really just want that on one side of the jaw. But see how it really makes her chin look like it's coming out of the paper, and then I've got the shadows on the neck, so her face is coming forward. I'm sending the neck back, and I'm trying to get the cheekbones and the nose to come forward by adding some extra little highlights. And I love it when a plan comes together. I love it when a painting comes together and you get to these points where adding little touches really start to make a big difference. If they start to happen before their time, it doesn't do, the impact of them just isn't there. But I love it when things start to coalesce. And I've just realised how wonky her eyebrows are. Wow. Anyway, maybe she's just lifting up one eyebrow, something I wish I could do. So I got to this point and I thought, wow, this I like her. She's loose, it's carefree. I don't want to go into any greater details at this point. I could let things dry off. Maybe I'll add some eyelashes. But now I was having so much fun and, chit-chatting with people in the comments that I just wanted to play with color. And I've got those gorgeous pinks on the other side. And there's just something about aqua and cool hot pinks. I love that combination. It just does something to my soul. It just makes me very, very happy. And just making little marks like this are very joyful making, but it does tie the side of the journal with the face on it looking off into space. Who knows what she's thinking about? It does tie it to the other page because we've got the blue in the hair and her eyes and a little bit of that blue into her hair. So it just, into those little raindrops marks, thought marks. And at one point I was thinking, I was just so entranced by the rock climbing at the Olympics, and there was the girl competing for Australia was called Oceania, which I just thought was the most beautiful name of all time. And hashtag mum, why didn't you name me Oceania? Mermaid name, hello. And she did not have blue hair, but she did have cute plaits, braids. And at some point I thought, this is her, and these are the little spectators in the crowd being electrified by her strength and flexibility. I don't know if you watched that, but that was amazing. I've also moved into a different brush. So I'm using one of my aqua brushes or ink brushes. These are you can fill them with water or ink, whatever you want. This one's got a bit of water in it. So the constitution of the layer cake that I'm applying is a little bit more watery. It's a little bit, the consistency rather, is a little bit, it still has the opacity, but it's not as opaque. I'm getting down into some finer details, still trying to keep it loose with my brush strokes, but I want the area around her mouth lighter, and I am fighting a little bit the random background that I've got in the background. If you work like me and you love to paint over bright coloured backgrounds, that's just a challenge that you have to face. Sometimes it really adds, like I like the weird shadowing that it can bring. I think it really adds to the creative process, but equally it can issue some challenges because you can get dark shadows happening in places where you might not want them. But I also wanted you to notice how when I put the layer cake down, looked quite bright or light, and then it melds in and sinks as it dries off once we're getting those thicker layers on. I'll have to use a fixative over all of this because it's like thick layers of pastel once it all dries down. But, delicious. I'm using magic wands, and it's going a little fast for you to be able to see. The magic ones are my coloured pencils. Nice pigmented, hard, but still soft and creamy. Hard for details, creamy enough for all this kind of business. And in some areas, the layer cake is still dry, and I'm scratching into it. Loving that because it's scratching down to those other layers, and it suits this because it is very loose and free, and just suits this type of this face in particular. What I love about coloured pencils, if you use it on wet paint, they just hardly show up. When the paint is dry, they will show up, and if you're not too rough with them, you can still use them on the wet paint. They'll scratch into it and you'll get a different effect, which I love. And the trick for me here is to not start tightening up with too many details because it's just not going to suit her. There's too much that's off about this face. The nostrils are the eyes are la la la. It's about a moment in time and just expressing some joy and fun. If I want to, I can go in and perfect this, but that's not what this is about. This is just a creation. Started off as an octopus, a really, really ugly one. I feel bad about even calling her an octopus. It was an insult to the octopi. But just really enjoyed the whole journey that she went on with me, my painting here. So let's pull you off the the stand. See the scratches into the layer cake, all of this crazy detail, and that's made with these loose brush marks and the pencil and the background coming up and through. I think it just all makes it more expressive for me in this moment. Perfection can't be had, so why worry about it is my motto of today. As always, thank you for joining me. I again apologize that this isn't like fantastic quality, but I don't know. I thought there was a bit of a lesson in this video.
Thanks
I hope
for
that you found
watching.
it useful.
Everything
as well.
that
I've been using is all from my own range of art supplies, Jane Davenport, which is my name as well. And you go and find everything at janedavenport.com. Oh, the layer cakes. 1000% love for them.